Hello everyone, welcome to a new homebrew video. Today we're taking another look at a Brewer's Best kit. This time we're taking a look at the English Pale Ale, a little bit of footage that I captured from it. So we started out, and what I actually really liked about this kit is it's 1 grain, 1 hop. So we used 8 ounces of Caramel 60. You can see me dropping it into the pail here, and I wanted to spend this episode to kind of talk about things that I know I did wrong in this brew. So first off, you don't see me add any of the 3.3 pounds of pale light malt extract or 2 pounds of the 3.3 of pale liquid malt and 2 pounds of light dry malt. And that is because I used too small of a pot. This is supposed to be a 4-gallon pot. There's no way this is a 4-gallon pot though. Normally I use like a 7 or 8 gallon pot. This one I thought, okay, I not only did I decrease my capacity, my volume, but I increased the amount of water that I put in. So these Brewer's Best kits, they recommend at least 2.5 gallons, which is normally what I do. In this case, I just filled up the 3 water jugs that I had with some of my RO water. And I had my first ever boil over. My wife was out there, she was reading while I was kind of doing it, and I was trying to stir while this was all going on. And so as I was adding the liquid and dry malt extracts, we had a boil over. So I was a little bit more sketchy, which means the boil didn't necessarily start when I first started my hour for the hops. So I've already dropped in 2 half ounces, so basically 1 full ounce of UK Kent Goldings have already gone into the pot, and then it's just 45 minutes wait until you add the last half ounce of UK Golding hops. And so I was a little bit more wary than I normally am when it comes to boilovers and that sort of stuff, because you can see how close it is to the top. This was actually the closest it's ever been. If I was at 2.5 gallons, I wouldn't even be worried about it. But so yeah, that went a little bit wrong. And then I was a little bit rushed for time. I got this kit it was a Sunday, so Amazon Prime, unfortunately enough for me, gets delivered on Sundays here. And so I got the kit probably at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and I had to be somewhere. I had to leave by 6, and I was like, okay, I for sure can get this done. And I even started it at like 4, and I was like, I'm gonna be able to get it done. And I didn't end up getting it done until like 6:30, and that was rushed. Like the wort probably wasn't cooled down enough, and I definitely ran into problems. Today is the day after, so I had really good yeast activity today when I got home from work, which is right around 24 hours after. But we don't have the air conditioner on in the house right now, so the temperature is probably up to 70. In my office especially, it's probably up to 78, which means the yeast is probably struggling a little bit in there. But it will cool down tonight, and then we'll turn on the air conditioner tomorrow, and hopefully the yeast can kick back up into form as the temperature cools a little bit. Did I run into any other problems? I don't think I did, and I wanted to talk about how just really simple these Brewer's Best kits can be. Now this one was on sale on Amazon for $30, which is pretty cheap. Considering you're probably going to end up getting somewhere around 48 beers out of it. So 2 24 packs is probably around like $34 where I live. Maybe even 35, 36, 37. So to get, brew your own beer, and it's going to be good beer for $30 is a pretty good deal. And then I just kind of wanted to go through also what I plan on doing with this one. So I'm going to try to do this one very simplistically. And one of the brew YouTubers that I watch, had talked about, or put up a video saying that he doesn't do secondary fermentation whatsoever. And this is actually a very good candidate for it. There's very little hops. It's a pale ale. If we just leave the trub in the bottom, I'm just going to bottle it after 2 weeks and see how it goes. Try to make sure that it ferments, obviously, but also I think it's just a very good experiment. I'm coming off of So my last 2 beers I did, one was, it's basically like a triple IPA. It was 8 ounces of just Citra hops. Very, very bitter, very, very citrusy. And I learned my lesson on that one too, is I didn't use a drill to break down the grain or the malt. So there's not a lot of malt flavor, it's just straight hop. And then the next one that I'm actually pretty happy with, it was just a regular, was it an India Pale Ale kit? I think it was a Brewer's Best India Pale Ale kit. It was a session IPA. And I was like, you know what, I just brewed an IPA, let's do something a little bit different with this one. So I added 33 ounces of mango juice, and then I threw in another 2 ounces of Amarillo hops. So that one is still in bottled stage. It's been bottled for a couple days, but I'm happy. I had one last night, and the bottles are already pretty surprisingly already carbonated. But I'm gonna let the flavors really settle out. So you can see here in the video, I just added the last half ounce of UK Kent Goldings, and we're gonna just ride out this last 15 minutes, and I'm gonna jump cut over to me cooling down the wort. You can see I've already transferred it into my 5-gallon bucket. I'm adding that last little bit of water. So I ended it right around 5-ish gallons. You can see I've already dumped in 1 whole. I'm gonna put the lid on and get ready for the yeast, which the yeast was a pack of, on the packet it says sachet, but it was a English ale yeast. Obviously this is being an English pale ale. And I'm actually really interested because there's another YouTuber that he does 2 packets of yeast, and I might start doing that just to see if that kind of kicks up my fermentation a little bit, because depending on what I've been brewing, it's been a little bit wishy-washy on whether or not I'm getting a good fermentation out of my beers. And it literally is probably down to temperature control. Like right now, I said it was probably like 70 in here, and now it's like closer to 80. So I'm throwing the yeast in a bunch of different temperatures, which isn't going to help. And I also mixed in the yeast this time, which I normally don't. It said on the instructions to do it. Normally I don't mix them in, but this time I was like, all right, this is an experimental one. We're going to see how it goes. We'll throw in a whole bunch of different stuff and see how things work out. But overall, I think we're doing pretty good. I'm going to bring you guys back just to show you. I have an interesting new kind of setup for how I bottle this beer and how I bottled my last couple that I really like. So I want to show that off to you guys, and we'll be back for that. And then we'll be ready for the spotted cow. So I will talk to you guys later.